doing today, sir?
Good.
I'm a huge fan of your work, and I really am extremely happy to talk with you today. Can you sort of talk about since I believe Private Ryan, you've been doing a lot of huge Hollywood movies. Maybe it started before Private Ryan, but if I'm not mistaken, Private Ryan was a big turning point in your career. What has been like the last decade for you? How do you pick your projects?
Well, I mean, for example, the last two movies that I've done prior to this one, prior to Warhorse, I've done lighter pictures. I've done a movie directed by Jim Brooks called How Do You Know? And right before that, I did a movie directed by Judd Apatow called Funny People. How do I pick the subjects? How do I pick the scripts? I pick the scripts based on the script and the director, of course. I did like Judd's movies. I felt I wanted to do something less precious. I wanted to do comedy, and we had a great time making the movie. I think the movie was terrific. I like Adam Sandler in the picture. It was a rather big movie, probably bigger than it needed to be, but nevertheless, we know it was a really interesting experience. Then doing movie with Jim Brooks, whom I've always respected as a director, and I like his movies, was another venue where I didn't have to really be too precious with the camera and the lighting, because it was romantic comedy. Not to say that romantic comedy should not look good, and I felt the movie looked really good, but just, it's more about performance, more about the relationship, more about the chemistry between the people, and knowing that Jim likes to work in close-ups. Obviously, certain visual opportunities were going to be missed, because when you have a close-up, you just really very much about that particular frame and not about the environment that the person coexists in, So, two good experiences, probably good enough to last me for a few more years. I think probably, definitely, I like working in drama more than I like working in lighter field. Although it's good to mix up occasionally. Also, I did in between somewhere there, I did a movie called Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which is a very good experience, great experience. Right after this one, I'm going to do a movie with Harmony Corwin, a little movie in Florida that he's directing called Spring Breakers. I directed a little movie over the summer myself. So, it's this big movies give me tremendous freedom to choose subjects, to choose movies I want to do. And frequently you base your choice on most of the time you base your choice on the story, occasionally out of convenience. Do I really want, I've got 2 kids now, so do I really want to go get away for 5 months and do a movie outside Los Angeles? Now the kids are in school, so, it takes me away from the family, it takes me away from my kids. And
I've spoken to actors who say that, or producers who say if you're filming in LA, it's easier to get certain people because they can sleep in their own bed and be with their family.
But also the quality of the quality of crew members is much higher than anywhere else. You are maintaining your private life as you're working in Los Angeles, and you do get better results without necessarily getting the tax breaks, But I believe, even if you go somewhere else, like in terms of Philadelphia, we shot Jim Brooks' film in Philadelphia. I think he saved $11 million. But nevertheless, we could probably do this movie in Los Angeles and save some money by moving through the production day a little bit faster, simply because the quality of a crew is so much better in Los Angeles,
I totally understand. I'm curious. I spoke to Roger Deakins, and he said that he loved the Arri Alexa, and he has really switched to digital filmmaking. Right. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on film versus digital at this point today?
I think film is still superior to digital in my mind. However, in my opinion, the ability to maintain the ownership of the image due to working with film is disappearing, simply because you end up digitizing the image and then you end up manipulating the image through electronic media, through getting the dailies and then timing the film digitally. So the bottom line is, if you time the movie conventionally, where you have red, green, and blue, 3 colors that you control, and you get points of brightness up and down, you can maintain the ownership of the image. For me, it's very important to have the ownership of the image. So what I'm driving to is, with the digital camera, you shoot the image, you correct the image right there on the set, and that image stays untouched until the movie gets released. And I think that's very enticing to me. Where with the film, every time you shoot a film, that image gets altered digitally by someone else, and usually you're not there. So it becomes a bit of a compromises in the sense that you're getting better quality images because you're making them on film, but you're losing the control of the image because someone else corrects those images as you're getting the dailies.
Is there a digital camera? Have you switched to digital?
No, not yet.
Is there a digital camera? Because a lot of people are on the Red Epic right now.
I have no idea. No, I have very limited experience with, but just the idea of controlling the image on the set is very enticing to me. See, when I make movies, when the labs used to exist, I would go to the lab every morning and I would see the dailies with the timer. So I would get up at 4:30, go to technical or deluxe, and watch the dailies with the timer. So by the time Steven would get the images were corrected with me. And that image would stay to the entire process, editing process, and through the release would be the image that I've created. Well, with digital, you know, there are no labs anymore. Nobody does printing, although I still do printing, but here we are in Richmond, and the film gets there. Day later, you know, I'm not there with the timer, blah blah blah. So it's a little bit of a guessing process. But I still use film print as my blueprint for digital dailies. You know.
Could you talk a little bit on Warhorse and in general with working with Mr. Spielberg, the relationship between the two of you in terms of storyboard, previs? How much do you guys figure out in advance, and how much is figured out on set?
Depends on the movie, you know, depends on the situation. What he spoke about during the press conference, it was the reality of working with a horse and horses and not knowing what kind of performance he would get. So he would actually storyboards the action sequences that involve the horses and the horse and the explosive, so everyone knew what's going on in terms of the needed technology, the needed training, all the elements that would be needed to fulfill his expectations. So we knew that the horse is going to run across field full of holes and ditches, and it's going to rain and there will be explosions. So we had to figure out how to do it with the horse trainer, where the horse can run on a pavement that's even, that's created for the horse, and the camera will follow the horse, maintaining the impression that the horse is going through warfare terrain, war destroyed terrain, you know. And also what Stephen was speaking about, the actual training of the horse. There were 13 horses. They were using various forms of commands. You know, some of them were verbal, some of them were visual, and they would train the horses to do those different tricks. You know, so the storyboards usually are created for the purpose of informing everyone around what the demands of the shots are, and also if the sequence is heavily visually driven by digital company to give the digital company opportunity to do a financial bet on the amount of work they have to do. And action sequences. We do not store dramatic sequences. We do not store the sequences that involve non-action driven filmmaking.
I have to wrap with you, but real quick, what can you tease people about Lincoln, the way you're shooting it?
I don't think I'm at liberty to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will leave it alone and say, no, that's fine. Do you know what you're going to do after that?
Yes, I'm going to do a movie directed by Harmon.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Cornea.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Let me hit stop. Thank you so much for your...